So here is the AKEZ, what is it even, 500 watt scooter. Now, last time I rode it, I burnt out the motor by going too slow. This was months ago. Now, there was nothing dramatic about it. It just slowed down, slowed down, slowed down and stopped. Because I was going at walking speed, below walking speed. There's nothing to be done. Melted hub is a melted hub. There's nothing I can do to fix it, which is why I haven't bothered. But today I thought, may as well take everything apart and just have a look inside the hub and just see exactly what I have melted. So the first thing I've done is to just take this cowl off the back wheel. And a really simple design on these scooters. You can basically take the whole thing apart with a set of Allen keys. You know, you can really feel the resistance in there. Something has gone wrong in that hub. So all we're doing at the moment is removing all the cowls and covers that are in the way, which there's actually not much to do to get into these scooters. They are pretty basic. So I'm going to crack on with pulling apart this wheel. Basically, I'm get in there and unplug everything and get the wheel out. I'm not going to bother recording that because it's going to take me about 10 or 15 minutes and it doesn't make good YouTube to sit there watching me struggle with basic tools. So I'll check back in once I've got this all ripped apart. Alrighty, so I've liberated the wheel from the frame, which is just down there on the ground behind me. I've done it once before. It's super easy to get into this hub. The fact is that there's nothing in the way of user serviceable parts inside. It is a direct drive hub, which means no plastic gears to grease. Even though there's nothing I can actually fix inside there, we're going to open it up and just see what I suspect has melted inside. So it's a good idea to keep your bolts sat in there so you keep everything together. Alright, so once we've removed our disc brake, we're going to get into the hub itself. And so far, to take everything apart, all I've needed is a 3mm Allen key for the covers and a 4mm for the hub and a spanner obviously for the wheel nuts. Now, blowing a motor like this would be a good opportunity to go for some upgrades. But there's just no point. The local cops are literally putting these scooters on tow trucks. They're taking guys off their e-scooters, calling a tow truck, impounding their scooters and whopping them with tickets for unregistered, they treat them as motorcycles, unregistered motorcycle, unroadworthy motorcycle, riding without a license. It's ridiculous. So I don't really want to put any money into something that could get impounded anytime I take it out for a ride. The same could be said for the motorised bikes. I don't want to spend a fortune on them because it's the same thing. They're not legal to ride. Anywhere in Australia now, there's no loopholes, there's no nothing. If it's got a petrol engine, it's treated as a motorcycle, and there is no category to register motorised bikes as mopeds or scooters or any of that. They've been written out of the legislation, which is ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. They want us to, you know, cut back on our emissions, stop driving our cars so much, but they're outlawing every mode of transport that people come up with. Even e-bikes, you're not allowed to have a throttle on your e-bike. I've had this hub off before, so I've popped the seal. Basically, I'm just going around and evenly trying to break the pressure around the hub, and eventually it will let go, which I'm not gonna waste too much time. I can smell the magic smoke coming out of this. That's how badly it's melted. And it's been months. It's been sat here for months. So I'm just taking the nuts and the washers off and just pushing them all the way down because sometimes I wish YouTube had smell-o-vision. It is noxious, that smell of burnt electrics that's coming out of here, which says a lot about how tight that seal was on this cover, because, there we go, do you know what? All right. There is nothing too dramatic in here. Here are our hall sensors, get that out the way. And you can definitely see where it's burnt. Right, you can see these coils here around the hall sensor. Burnt, burnt, burnt. Burnt out hall sensors are the most common fault with direct drive motors. Ironically, this happened because I was going too slow. The problem is with starting up, you're putting so much more load on these little motors to get moving, you're actually better off full throttling it and going at high speed. If you drive these motors flat out all the time, you'll probably never melt something. It's that low-end load that has caused this rather stinky, smelly problem. So, you can see the blackened ones. They should be bright and shiny copper like that. Let me turn that around again. Blackened, burnt out. It's likely going to cost me between $200 and $350 to replace this hub motor. And that's money I don't want to spend on a scooter that's so slow and yet so illegal. Before I opened this up, I knew what I was going to see. I was going to see black and burnt out coils. Electrical savvy people probably have no trouble replacing the coils. As a consumer, it's a lot easier just to buy a new hub. The thing is, the battery in this scooter on the floor behind me is still really good. The speed controller, nothing wrong with it. All I would have to do is order a new wheel, plug it in, and I'll be rolling again. $350. That can go a long way towards getting some riding gear, which is what I want to do in the new year. Piss off the toys and get something a little bit more registerable. How do you go about removing that, I wonder? Aha! I'm sorry I didn't catch that on camera, but to remove this whole unit, I undid the bolts, I undid the wheel nut on this side, and I just pushed down. And that is a direct drive motor. I want to show you how rusty. Can I see? Yeah. Look at how rusty this bearing race is. That really annoys me because I've kept this scooter inside and I've made a point of not running through puddles or wet terrain. I haven't abused this scooter. You probably won't be able to see because of the lighting, but inside this hub, it's got this patina of surface rust on it. What we can actually see here is that the solders have actually melted off on 3 of these contact points. I have a soldering iron and some solder. I wonder if I should try it. Right, well, I've got nothing to lose because this thing's going in the bin anyway. I'm going to see if I can stick these wires back into this motor without melting anything else. That's really bad. Here, looking on the back here, you can see beneath the hall sensor just how burnt out these coils are. That's really nasty looking. And I think it doesn't matter how well I resolder these connections, this motor's done for. But I'm going to have a tinker with it. This is going in the bin anyway because it's useless. So my soldering skills are not brilliant. So my soldering skills are not great, but I've tacked down this one, and the black one over here. So I really doubt that I've actually fixed anything. But I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together. And I'll switch the scooter on one last time and see if anything happens. I don't think it will. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess. I'm kind of trying not to get too hopeful that I might have actually fixed something. But let's be honest, if I haven't fixed it, I haven't really lost anything except time. So I'll check back in once this is all back together. Right. So the last thing for me to do right now is to plug it all back in. You know that I haven't fixed a single thing. All I did was resolder some wires, but when the coils are burnt out like that, that's the end. There's no coming back from that. Not to mention that nothing I did by reseating that motor has made that smoother. Okie dokie. So I'm going to turn the controller on there, try and get the camera to focus on it. Nothing. We're not getting the instant error code that I was getting, but there's not a single blip coming out of that motor. I won't lie, I'm disappointed that I couldn't fix it. I'm annoyed also because I'm not even getting an error code anymore. So the error code I was getting was for those broken wires on the board. But obviously with the way that those coils are burnt out, there's just no power getting to it, which is why it doesn't work. But at least before I was getting an error code flash up at the top of the screen there. What a pity. So I dare say this was worth the effort, but that's it for this scooter. It was $600. I won't say well spent. And that's a $600 paperweight. But now I'm just going to finish tidying all of this up, and then it's going under the house with the rest of my crap, because I am not spending another cent on this scooter, because it just isn't worth it. So I've had people ask me since I've been putting up a lot of videos since I bought this scooter, would I recommend the AKEZ 500 watt? No. Reliability really was a bit of an issue. There was nothing until now that I couldn't fix up, and that was just hardware, like bolts falling out of it. Because apparently they don't know what thread locker is. If you're looking at buying an electric scooter, it doesn't matter if all electric scooters are illegal in the state of Victoria. So if you're going to buy one, go whole hog. Get one of these 5,000 watt monsters that can do 100 k's an hour. It doesn't matter if you've got this particular 500 watt model that barely does 30 k's an hour. They're going to stick it on the back of a truck and impound your scooter and charge you with a bevy of fines. So, for cost versus worth, if you want to do the right thing, technically, don't buy an e-scooter. But if you're going to do it, go whole hog and get something that's at least fast enough to be fun. This scooter is not that fast. And if they were going to legalise electric scooters, this would probably be what their compromise would be. But ironically, going slowly is exactly what burnt out the motor on this thing. And a replacement rear hub is more than half of what I paid for the whole scooter. And that's just not money I'm willing to spend. That's it, I guess. I think that's my thumbnail. Maybe